Hey everyone, welcome to Crypto Data. So wow, what a day it has been. Most of the alts today are in the red besides, you guessed it, Bitcoin. Bitcoin actually passed 13,000 and then rocketed past 14,000 shortly after. You can see on Bittrex it hit a high of $14,055 and currently it's at about 13,800. The other coins are down anywhere from 6% all the way to 16%. So while a lot of the alts are bleeding today, it seems that Bitcoin just keeps going higher. So I'm going to explain why I think Bitcoin could hit $20,000 by the end of the year and why it doesn't seem so far off as it did a month ago. So with that, let's go on to these first couple of articles. So there's an article today that basically talks about Bitcoin, ripping past 13,000 amid the interest from institutional investors. So as y'all know, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange is launching Bitcoin futures on December 18th. But then recently, the Chicago Board of Options Exchange said it would launch its own version on December 10th. So you have two huge exchanges listing Bitcoin futures, and basically, a lot of investors are getting in before that because they expect Bitcoin to rise even further once those big institutional investors jump in. So right now it's just almost like a digital gold rush to buy Bitcoin. So you've seen a crazy amount of FOMO recently. You've seen people just rush into the market trying to get before that December 10th date because they know, a lot of people are going to be investing at that time. Also, people are realizing that if they hold Bitcoin, then if a fork is to happen, they're going to get equal amount of whatever coin is created from that fork. So there's just a lot of people right now buying Bitcoin due to this futures release. So I think that's been basically the driving factor right now. And I've had word from a couple people that some big hedge funds that they really think that Bitcoin's going to hit 20,000 this year. So there's a lot of people, in the know right now, and I think that we're going to see continued buying as we move forward. So another article that came out today was basically Bitcoin's Lightning Network. So as you know, the biggest thing with Bitcoin is, making the transactions faster because currently they take about an hour. So they've been working on the Lightning Network for a little over a year, and there's been some tests that show that the scaling solution is almost ready. So from some of the developers, they say here that their software is now interoperable, meaning it can work with other networks. So it says here, this is the Lightning Network standard we've been working on for more than a year. There's been a lot of work from us and from all our participants. It's a big milestone. So they finally entered version 1, and they've been able to successfully perform 2 live transactions. So their 3 main implementations of Lightning are indeed interoperable, and it says a piece of the puzzle that developers have been working on since last year. So basically what they did is these 2 transactions where they made this app that kind of simulated the Starbucks app, which is, for selling coffee and buying coffee. So it says they started an app here, and they were able to make 2 transactions, and basically they purchased blockachinos, so kind of play on frappuccinos, but they were able to successfully route through their Lightning nodes and perform these transactions for this simulated coffee. So that was big news because they're trying to make Bitcoin easier to use for smaller purchases such as for coffee, etc. And they're still testing it, but they did have successfully performed these 2 transactions. So that's great. It says right here, they say it's a very small network, but demonstrates how the interoperability works, adding that this highlights a live proof of concept for the scaling mechanism. So they say there's no rush, but it's still one more step before users can take advantage of Lightning releasing their mainnet software. So I thought this was great. For those who don't know what the Lightning Network actually is, basically it's instead of having a lot of miners confirm a transaction and stuff and it take over an hour, whenever someone sends Bitcoin, then it actually cuts out the middleman and performs all the transactions on an offline network, and then only that end receipt shows up on the network. So it's almost instantaneous. So they can bypass the middleman, and it's an own personal offline network, whether that's the business's network or whoever they're using, versus using the mining and everything. So it's almost instantaneous. They're trying to use it again for payments that people that accept instant payments, and to compete with any place that'll accept that, so it can make Bitcoin more mainstream and more people are able to use it. So I think this is great. This is another reason why Bitcoin's kept rising. I mean, this just shows that Bitcoin is continuing to get better, and they're coming closer to releasing this network, which will speed up the transactions tenfold. So I can't wait to see this. Definitely looking forward to this and seeing what we hear in the future. So some not so good news was, if you've heard, the program NiceHash that a lot of people use for mining like Bitcoin or their own Litecoin or anything with their mining rigs, it actually got hacked, and supposedly over $62 million worth of cryptocurrency is gone. So it says here that NiceHash, that the team was hacked on Wednesday. And it says there's been a security breach involving NiceHash's website, resulting in a loss of funds. NiceHash serves as a marketplace for miners to rent out their hash rate to others. And basically there was a long outage, and they say, quote, "Importantly, our payment system was compromised and the contents of the NiceHash Bitcoin wallet have been stolen. We are working to verify the precise number of BTC taken." So basically, it's over 4,700 Bitcoin that was taken, and they're urging users to change their non-NiceHash online passwords as a result of the breach. And they're still not exactly sure what happened, but they just say, make sure you change your online passwords. So that's unfortunate. I know a couple people that were affected by this. They had their own mining rigs set up, and their accounts got hacked, and they didn't have any cryptocurrency once they opened their account. So again, if you're using your mining rig, be careful. Always change your passwords, even every month or even every couple weeks. It never can be too safe, but because hackers are always trying to get in. So right now for mining, I'm just using Genesis Mining, and they've been good so far. But again, always take precautions with anything you're using. Use a Google Authenticator, and just always change your passwords when you can. So with that, another article was Steam. If any of you are into video games, PC games, that Steam is a huge platform for buying and selling games, and just coming out with a lot of good deals, and just purchasing online games. So it says here that they no longer accepting Bitcoin due to the high fees and volatility. So basically, Steam was accepting Bitcoin before for like these in-game purchases and everything. But now, since Bitcoin has been rising and falling, what they say here is, so whenever you send them Bitcoin, as I mentioned earlier, it takes about an hour for the transaction. And in that time, the price of Bitcoin could fluctuate, 5%, even 10%, depending. But basically, depending on what price it is whenever they receive it, then they may need to issue a refund, or you may need to send more. So because the value isn't equal to in the same hour. So until Bitcoin's price stabilizes where it's not moving, it's maybe moving 1% a day, which I could see that in the future, then they're kind of halting their acceptance of it right now. So I wouldn't say this is necessarily bad news. It's just, Bitcoin's been going crazy recently, and they just want to protect themselves and their customers and not have any hiccups in the transaction process. So again, with the Lightning Network, one more step closer to that, then instantaneous transactions will happen with Bitcoin, and then Steam, I can see them accepting Bitcoin again because there's no really volatility, because it's instantaneous. So so just waiting for that Lightning Network to come, and then we'll see a lot more companies accepting Bitcoin, and then that's when the price will really rise even more. So and this last article here is from JP Morgan. So as you remember, the CEO of JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, said Bitcoin was a fraud a couple months ago. The price tanked, I believe $3,000, and now they're changing their stance on Bitcoin. So they said the company has once again stepped over that line, praising the digital coin as a new gold. Analysts at JP Morgan believe that Bitcoin has changed its shape and that it could soon be joining gold as a reliable long-term way to store wealth. So recent growth and recent changes have seen Bitcoin lean more towards being digital gold, and this is where JP Morgan sees its value. So basically what they say here is, that futures, a lot of companies and investors are promoting, Bitcoin futures. And since they see that all of these, big investment firms are willing to participate in these Bitcoin futures, then it kind of gives it a more reputable stance. And basically it solidifies itself as an asset, and versus before when not too many people were believing in it. So now that there's this big adoption of Bitcoin, then JP Morgan is changing its stance and says, okay, now it's, we see it actually has a backing, it's more reputable, and it's gaining a lot of attention from everyone. So they want a part of this, and they want in on that profit as well. So I thought it was just funny to see, a couple months ago, the CEO saying that Bitcoin's a fraud, and now they're completely 180 and they're all in on it. So just goes to show you, people like to wait until almost like until it's too late, but at least now they've changed their mind on it, and we'll just keep seeing these more investors pouring into it. So these are a lot of the reasons why I see Bitcoin could be $20,000 by the end of the year. It may sound, skeptical right now, or it may sound a little, crazy, but from what I've heard, everything I'm seeing is pointing to $20,000 Bitcoin by the end of the year. So look forward to that. Bitcoin futures aren't far off at all. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that as we see all these new investors start coming in. I see a lot more people talking about it on social media, so it's just gaining popularity every day. So with that, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like, comment if you have any questions, and please subscribe if you haven't. Until next time, thanks for watching.